Oh, we apologize for that. It looks like some of our internet service providers in India have taken this defeat a bit too personally. While we were just showering praise on Pakistan with Shan, Masood, Tom Moody, and Ajit Agarkar. That's what's happened. But I hope you got Tom and Shan's opening comments in there. We'll keep the conversation going. There's a lot to celebrate about Pakistan's effort today and plenty to even discuss about India's. Ajit, first and foremost, 152 good India's bowlers have made harder work of that for Pakistan in the chase.
Possibly, couple of the decision making. I couldn't quite believe that Bumrah didn't open the bowling today. India Pakistan don't play that often, and even though some of these guys would have played Bumrah, you've still got to get your strike bowler in straight away, in my opinion. So one or two things, but I think Pakistan was just far too good on the day. Even if you had gotten Bumrah on to start the innings, may not have mattered because Pakistan were the better team on the day. Where they set it up with the field, and 150 was never going to be easy if they batted well, and which they did impressively.
Do you get the feeling, Ajit, that we keep talking about the occasion and how sometimes, or more often than not, it gets to Pakistan's players more than it does to India's? Today it was the other way around.
I'm not sure it was the occasion. I think Pakistan just bowled well. When you get Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul early with almost unplayable balls, don't get India off the hook at any stage of the innings. You've got to give credit to the team that's won the game. I don't think it was the occasion. India might have to look at the bowling combination going forward, and I know it's just one game, but they might have to look at where they are going to get their wickets from and how they're going to plan going forward. But I don't think it would have mattered today. I think Pakistan, like I said, were far too good, and their bowling set it up, and their openers made sure that there were no tense moments, there were no hiccups. They never let India back in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say Shaheen Afridi is leading that race for player of the match. So it is Pakistan's bowling that set them up. But we still felt at halftime, Shan, that it's a big game, it's a pressure game. You never know how good were Babar and Rizwan together. There seems to be a bit of chemistry about them batting at the top, almost invincible through that chase.
Look, I think what's been unfair on them is they've got the majority of the runs for Pakistan over the last year, and they've still been heavily criticized due to the way they play. But I feel when you've got something good going, when something's not broken, you don't try and go and fix it, but you actually try and build a team around it. And today was the biggest example. When you go out there against one of the best teams in the world and put out a batting display like that, they run them ragged on the field. They chose their matchups. They were very clever against Chakravarti. It was impressive when they were playing him for the first time. Did not seem like an easy bowler at all. They attacked him at the right time. They attacked Jadeja at the right time. They took advantage of Shami and Bhuvneshwar, and they made sure they nullified Bumrah. So they were very clever, and that running was very sort of heartening to see when you push a fit side and a good fielding side like India around the field.
Yeah, I guess perception is that this game was won with Shaheen Afridi's spell in with the new ball, Tom. But as we talk about trying to rebuild or resurrect an innings that started poorly, now if we look back at it and the overall 20 overs, did India miss out to get maybe 15, 20 more after Virat Kohli batted as long as he did? After Jadeja, Hardik Pandya did get a fair few balls?
I think at the end of the day, when you lose both your top class openers in Sharma and KL Rahul as early as you do, that's the 15 runs you're missing. You're always going to have to reset, and I thought India did that very well. Kohli led that reset with Pant, and then they managed to get to a position where they had a competitive total, and it was just a competitive total. It wasn't a par score. But it was a competitive total. And we all knew that Dew was going to play a role at some stage, and generally that you can add another 10, 15, and in some cases 20 more runs on the fact that, the challenge with Dew for the team that's fielding second. It certainly looked like the ball was being wiped down quite regularly by the bowlers, so that obviously had an effect as well. And I'm not taking anything away from Pakistan. That was just a real polished professional performance from them. But, basically, I think where India missed out, that 165, 170 score was more to do with the damage that was done in the first couple of overs.
Would you go with that, Ajit, or would it be unfair to afford criticism towards the way that innings ended? 21 balls between Pandey and Jadeja that yielded 24. Virat Kohli got 8 of his last 10, I think, if I got the numbers right. Or is that unfair at this point, and it was more the damage done by Shaheen and the new ball?
Yeah, Jadeja perhaps, if you had to really pick on things, but you're really picking on things. I mean, it wasn't
Okay.
like Pakistan were Pakistan were giving them freebies and they were not taking advantage of it. Virat Kohli, maybe in another instance, I would have said yes, but not today because there was too much work to do after those early wickets. So I thought India, yeah, like we said at mid innings, they would have ideally liked another 10, maybe 15. But today it was not possible because Pakistan didn't let them off the hook. And even in the field, I think Pakistan were very impressive. Didn't make there was nothing sloppy in their field. Didn't make too many mistakes, which made the job of the batters a lot harder.
That's also a very collective, efficient, all-round bowling effort today, Shan. We're wondering whether Haris Rauf would be given the vote of confidence. He had an excellent day. Shadab Khan did his job. Hafiz with a couple of overs did their job. Even after Shaheen's spell, they didn't seem to let the game go away to India for that long.
Yeah, I think, and if you see, we talked about that Shaheen and Hassan combination. Hassan went for a few runs, so those runs had to be covered by the other bowlers. So I thought Imad, Shadab, and then Haris Rauf, he showed a lot of maturity by backing a skill that he's not known for. Yes, Hassan got 2 wickets, but he was sort of on the expensive side, which doesn't happen too much. But the other three bowlers, Imad, Shadab, and Haris Rauf, they covered for the runs that Hassan went. So I thought it was a collective effort. They had to do a lot of work even after Shaheen made early inroads, but I think it was a collective and a very phenomenal display by the Pakistan bowling attack.
Form such a big thing in 2020 cricket, Tom. India still wanted to go for the experience of Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. They could have gone Shardul Thakur, perhaps. Is that an area that you'd look into after this game?
I wouldn't be making too many, random decisions on the back of one performance. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar he's a pedigree bowler. Yeah, look, okay, he didn't have one of his great nights tonight, but he'll step up, I'm sure, if he's given the opportunity and the backing. And that's the most important thing in the early parts of the tournament, is that if you do lose one or two games, you still have the trust and the backing of your players. If he's good enough to be in your best 11 today, I can't see how that dramatically changes in 2 or 3 days' time when India play their next game, unless there's a huge shift in the conditions that they're playing in.
Ajit, do you share Tom's view on that regarding Bhuvaneshwar Kumar?
No, I think I'm off. I mean, I said it before the game as well. I think Shardul Thakur should have played the game. We can see Bhuvi struggling at the moment. It's not a reflection of what he's done in the past, but at the moment, and especially when you're trusting someone with the new ball to try and get wickets, because that's the best place that he bowls. And at the moment, it doesn't look like he's going to do that. Uh, and we've seen it for a while now. He doesn't seem to be at his best. Even in the Sri Lanka series that India played, we saw him, and he doesn't look at his best, which is sometimes an indication. So I don't think in my perfect 11 Bhuvi fits at the moment, unless something. India's got what, 4, 5, 6 days almost to the next game.
Yep.
Something dramatically changes. Well, India needs to find wickets with the new ball. I think otherwise it's always going to be difficult defending totals or stopping teams.
They've got a whole week before that game against New Zealand. The other concern is Hardik Pandya has gone for some scans now. Now, does this, even if Hardik Pandya is fit, does this look like the team to carry on and watch now a big game against New Zealand, Ajit, with just the 5 bowling options, if they are to bowl second again with perhaps Dew in Dubai?
I mean, I'd pick 6 bowlers in my 11 before this game, so so I'm probably the wrong person to ask. But it's much easier here. You can understand why he went with the 6 batters. That you want that extra depth, but with a little bit of dew coming in, and if it's a really good pitch, sometimes Ravindra Jadeja then becomes a bit limited. Do you want to give them more help? It'll make. I mean, if Hardik Pandya is not fit, it perhaps might make that decision a little bit easier with Ravindra Jadeja batting at 6 and then have five bowlers where Ashwin might come into the equation as well. So who could perhaps bowl with the new ball if you replace Bhuvaneshwar Kumar with Shardul Thakur. So those sorts of things, I'm sure they'll look at closer to the game. But they've got tonight wasn't the night where you really needed a 6 bowler, but there might be on another occasion that you might need a sixth option.
I tell you what, this is Rizwan and Babar's fault that I'm having such a long chat about India's bowlers, who poor things had to defend what was a well below par first inning score in hindsight. So let's talk more about Pakistan, shall we, and what this result means for them. Now, this This is it really a monkey of the back? Would these players really have thought about the record and the ICC head-to-head and whatnot? Shan, is this just another game that it's done, or somewhere quietly they'll all admit, "Gee, this is big for us. We've beaten India in a World Cup."
I think it's always nice to get that monkey off the back, especially when it's Pakistan, India, and when you're consistently reminded of that record. The good thing was that this game was first up. It wasn't a pressure game where it was out situation for Pakistan. So I think they played more freely. They played with all of their, they showed all of their skills today. There were less emotions. They were more calm Pakistan, and they made sure that they put their 100% out there today. And this probably gives them belief going into the latter stages of the tournament. And like we said, this India and New Zealand games, they were very important for Pakistan. If they can take at least one victory out of them, it sets them up for a really good tournament. And having beaten one of the best sides in the world, now when they go and play the bigger sides, hopefully in the semi-finals, if they do manage to qualify, I think they'll have that belief after today's performance.
And probably a good thing, Shan, that unlike India who play in 7 days' time, Pakistan have New Zealand in 2 days' time. They also play Afghanistan in 3 days after that. So they would have played 3 games before India play their next. You wouldn't mind the games coming thick and fast right now?
Look, it's always nice, yes, to play right away and not wait for that long. But Pakistan cricket, as Nasir Hussain describes it, it's 1 minute up, 1 minute down. So that's something, again, Pakistan has to work on. They play New Zealand. New Zealand can't be taken easily in any conditions, and especially in ICC tournaments. I think you're going to get a very good match, knowing that out of the three ground, I wouldn't prefer playing New Zealand. It'd probably be Sharjah. So just with the nature of wicket at Sharjah. So it'll probably be a very good contest. And again, Pakistan will have to sort of get rid of this high tomorrow, enjoy the day, enjoy the night, and then sort of back to work day after tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, with no disrespect to Afghanistan, Namibia, and Scotland, Tom, the makeup of this group made this result very interesting, especially for a team like India. Now, they play New Zealand in a week from now, and that could, for all practical purposes, be a virtual knockout or a do or die sort of game, you think?
Yeah, look, it is difficult. Yeah, it's not ideal from India's point of view because after you've had a loss like that, more often than not you want to get back out there, get back on the horse, and rectify things. Now they've got a lot of time to think. They don't need the practice time. They've been on the road for a long time. These players, they've been involved in many matches over the last 6 to 8 weeks. So they're game prepared. They don't need to be sitting around a hotel or going to practice and having another net session and then another fielding session and another strength and conditioning sessions. They don't need that. They need match. They need to get out there, rectify what's happened tonight, get back their winning ways and move forward in the tournament.
Ajit, would you be worried if you're an Indian fan?
I'm sure they'd be worried, but that's a really good Indian team. I mean, because they were outplayed today. We're talking so much about it, but they've got lots of experience, lots of quality in that team, and you expect them to bounce back. Yeah, I'm with Tom. I mean, the last thing you want to do is go for 3 more practice sessions and go to the gym and have about 6, 7 meetings through that week. You'd rather get back on the park. But they'd be worried only because if Pakistan now goes on and beats New Zealand, and again we're sort of assuming that every other team is going to get beaten, which may not be the case. Afghanistan's a really good team. Scotland has shown some resolve in those qualifiers. So you never know in T20 cricket, but you would think then there's a lot more pressure on having to beat New Zealand, which they are more than capable of. Look, India is still a very good team. They'll have to quickly put this behind them and try and perform better.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it, isn't it? It's scheduling anomalies, these things. How India play just one game while Pakistan play 3 in the next week, but that's just how it rolls in the ICC. If Shan Masood was welcoming this Pakistan team back right now, there's going to be some madness on social media. I can imagine, Shan, not to mention in the TV studios where we all love to scream and shout, don't we? We don't do that here. But if you were welcoming that Pakistan team back right now, what's the first thing you'd say to them after this achievement?
Oof, I mean, just by what it's like back home right now. Normally, I'd be asleep. If I didn't watch the match, I'd be asleep. But there was a lot of fireworks, so that just shows how happy the population is. And if Pakistan were to come back to Pakistan after that, so they can probably just pack their bags and come back home right now.
Yeah, this is a good team, isn't it, Ajit? It's this Pakistan side. For many of us who don't get to watch them play as much, if you're in India or you don't follow the
Yeah.
PSL, it seems like some team.
It is a very good team. I mean, I saw them play in the warm ups. I covered one of the games of the warm ups, and you could see the balance in the team. Yes, they are a little bit dependent with as far as the batting is concerned, with these top two having to go really well. But they've got experience in Hafiz and Shoaib Malik in the middle. They've got the power of Asif Ali, and their bowling generally, Pakistani bowling has always been good through their history, and so is this one. So I mean, I was in no doubt that this is a very difficult game for India, and if India don't play at their absolute best, Pakistan will beat them, which is what has happened because it's a very good team.
Let me put Tom in that same hypothetical as I put Shan in, and there's a good chance Tom Moody will be coach of either India or Pakistan someday, depending on what you're reading. So let me ask Tom what he would say to either team after a game like this. You know how big this would be for Pakistan. At the same time, the defeat would hurt for India. Tom, what are your opening comments to both dressing rooms if you were there?
Oh, look, for India, I think it's a chance to reflect on it very quickly and move on even quicker. They know what they need to do, and they've done it very well for a long time. So, yeah, look, recognise the areas that they've let themselves down, but move on as quick as possible. For Pakistan, embrace the moment. Look at what they've done well. You know, both bat, ball, and in the field. Let's talk about that. Let's share the stories around what we did well. But again, close that page and move on and look to build on that. Look to improve on those three areas as they move forward into the tournament.
All right, that is pretty much a wrap. I've been keeping an eye on the comments that are coming in through the course of this. It's absolutely horrendous, so that's no fun. So we'll keep it there. This is a game of cricket that Pakistan have outplayed India in, and that's just about it. Let's celebrate that, and let's look forward to a cracking tournament. Shan, Masood, this has been a good day for you. I think everybody's going to be wanting you on media networks now. You seem to change the trend single-handedly as a player getting into media. Well, that's how it works.
Hopefully, I have a few more years playing, so not
Of
now.
course, you could do both. You know, maybe one day I'll convince Tom to join us from a dugout of the IPL or something like that. Anyway, thank you so much, Tom. Ajit Agarkar, always a pleasure. More from all of you on Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. Well, Virat Kohli and Babar Azam are going to sleep well tonight, regardless. It's only a game of cricket, but Babar will sleep that much better. He has become the first Pakistan captain to register a win against India in a Men's World Cup. So that's something to say.
Watch more, feel more. Dell.